Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I have, I don't know how many, 6 meditation books to read today. I'm not going to read all 6 of them. I have to tell you, I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying just a cup of coffee. I haven't even left the house yet to go to Starbucks and get my coffee. I woke up, are you guys ready? I'm going to show you a little surprise. I woke up to snow outside today, which cracks me up. That it is, oh, come on camera, that it is, don't you love when I give you a little field trip and I turn the camera around? I can't believe that it's, you know, the middle of March and we're still having snow. Kind of reminds me of when I grew up back in the day. Like, we would have winter from, you know, the beginning, middle of the end of November all the way through March. We would have snow and ice and cold days outside. This is kind of a spring snow. It's not really sticking except for on our patio, but like on the front yard and the streets, it's not really sticking. I wish it would. I wish we would get snowed in and have a blizzard for the weekend. I know people are, whenever I say that, people are always like, don't wish that on anybody, but I mean, I just wish that we would have like kind of like a mild snowstorm where we just had to sit at home and watch movies and TV shows and, you know, eat pizza rolls and stuff like that. I think it would be fun. So anyway, all right, let's get into the meditations for today. Let's pick out something I haven't read for a while. Let's, like, well, I read all these all the time. Let's do Daily Affirmations for Forgiving and Moving On by T.N. Dayton, PhD, Powerful Inspiration for Personal Change. March 14th. Okay. Self-love. Self-love, March 14th. Today, I love myself. So much of what our culture says tells me that loving myself is somehow wrong and that love of things acquired and outside of myself is what I should want. What I have learned, though, is that no matter how much I have, if I have no self, I am wholly unable to experience or enjoy anything. Loving myself is part of having myself, because that which I do not love tends to disappear and leave my life. Even myself, if unloved long enough, will go away. That which I love tends to grow and become more present. Myself is all I really have. Everything else comes and goes. I will take care of what I have. It is all right to love myself. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. Oscar Wilde. I think it's an interesting meditation, you know. I think it's interesting when he says in here, and this book is, you know, it wasn't just published yesterday. I think this book was published, let's see, 1992. You know, he says in here today, or he says in here about society, where is it? So much of what our culture tells me that loving myself is somehow wrong. I don't know that I agree with that statement. I don't know that we live in a society or a culture today where the sentiment is that that self-love is wrong. I don't believe that at all. I believe we live in a world where we are told that selfishness and self-centeredness are wrong, that ego and pride are wrong. And not necessarily, I think, even wrong, but something to work on, a point of reference, so to speak. So, you know, I'm not necessarily sure that I agree with that statement. Do I think that in 1992, maybe, or 1991, whenever this book was published, that I think that maybe our society or culture taught, I mean, society and culture are two different things, too, you know, that at that time our culture taught that self-love was wrong. I don't know, you know, like, I think about that time that I got, because that was about the time that I got sober. I got sober in 94, and I graduated in 90, and, you know, to some degree, we were kind of on this precipice of this renaissance of kind of new age thinking, honestly, which, like, meditation books are kind of part of, and I really thought maybe, you know, it would, like, I remember being kind of part of that and having a lot of conversations with friends of mine about all different kinds of, like, spiritual, you know, spiritualism, basically, and thinking that we were kind of on the cusp of this, I don't know, the spiritual renaissance, so to speak. And when I read the Celestine Prophecy, I think maybe that's why that book so spoke to me at the time, because that was basically what it was talking about. And that book was a spiritual renaissance, you know? So I feel like at that time, we were kind of on the cusp of the idea of self-love becoming a center point for new age thinking, spiritual thinking, things like that. I think today we've come so far that, you know, we even, you know, have like a RuPaul, you know, mantra where it's on RuPaul's Drag Race, you know, where it's like, how are you going to love yourself? How are you going to love somebody else if you can't love yourself or whatever, you know? And, you know, I believe that that's kind of the sentiment that is out there today, you know, is that we've got to work on loving ourselves. And that's why there's so many books on self-esteem. And that's why I don't love the term like self-help book, you know, because I think that, I don't know that we necessarily need help. maybe we do, as much as we need motivation and inspiration, you know, and I think to be inspired and to be motivated is really comes from a point of loving ourselves. I think help does too, but I just don't love that word. I don't know what it is about that word. I just don't love it. But anyway, I think it's a good reminder though, you know, the meditation's a good reminder. This is one of the meditations, in all honesty, that if I was like sitting outside in the summer and I was drinking my, you know, cup of coffee and I read, I'd just be like, okay, next. Like, I wouldn't think much about it. And, you know, and often in reading these meditations, sometimes there's ones that are just like so profound and sit with me, and there are others that are just like, okay, next. But what's funny about this one is that this is a meditation that maybe like 8 hours later, if I was driving around with Tanya, you know, that I would be like, oh, I read this meditation today and it was about self-love. What do you think about that? You know, like that it would come up later and I would ask her, you know, what she thought about it. So I guess it's something to, you know, remember. I think, and maybe it's also my perspective, because I've worked so hard in my life on self-concept, self-esteem, and working on really loving myself that, you know, and I don't have it all figured out. Like I said something in a vlog the other day, and I said something about, you know, like I'm really, like I feel like I have it kind of all together, and somebody commented on my vlog, or not that I have it all together, I don't feel that way, but I feel like as far as self-love goes, like I feel like I know how to love myself, right? And the person said, but you still speak poorly about your weight. And I thought, that's very true, you know? I have a lot I still work on. I have a lot I still need to work on, you know? So it's very, very true. I don't know what somebody that completely loves themselves looks like. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it is, they don't beat themselves up, but they challenge themselves. They allow themselves to grow. They allow themselves to make mistakes and understand it. I mean, really self-love is how we would treat others, but we treat ourselves that way. You know, I think that's really what it's about when we talk about that. Like if you were to take your best friend in the entire world and how you treat them, like do you forgive them? Do you allow them to make mistakes? Do you treat them well? Do you know, buy them dinner every once in a while? You know, what do you do for them? You know, like maybe that's how we have to think about treating ourselves the same way. I don't know. All right, let's pick another meditation. Let's do, since we were talking about self-esteem, let's talk about a time to be free, daily meditations for enhancing self-esteem. I think this was the one that, yeah, this is from my dad and my stepmom. March 14th. More often than we'd care to admit, our spirits would sink as we wondered if we'd ever be happy. We dreamed of being happy. We dreamed of being happily married, of being happy in our jobs, of being happy people. We thought of happiness in absolute terms. Either you have it or you don't. Because we demanded total happiness or happiness forever. We frequently missed out on happiness altogether. We wanted nothing less than the entire treasure chest. As a result, we allowed countless individual jewels to slip through our fingers. As we've matured, we've come to understand that genuine happiness is not an always feeling, but a sometimes feeling. We've given up trying to be happy all of the time. Instead, we now savor and are grateful for the sights, sounds, and experiences that can bring us moments of happiness each day. A flowering tree, a starry night, a warm greeting, heading home. What is more, we no longer attempt to plan and program happiness as if it is something that can be forced into a daily agenda. And now that we've set aside our unrealistic expectations, we're better able to enjoy happiness whenever and wherever it comes our way. Thought for today. I will experience this day moment by moment with joyful acceptance. That's a great meditation for me, and it's a good reminder, you know, of this whole idea that I believe that life is bittersweet. And what I mean by that is that it's the bitter and the sweet. You know, that it's the good and the bad, the very much the yin and the yang kind of things. You know, that like in life there's going to be tragedy, but there's also going to be blessings. And that there's going to be beauty, and there's going to be, you know, things that are not so beautiful in the world that feel, you know, ugly inside to us, like in our own lives, you know. And I think that you have to take it with a grain of salt. And once you accept that, I think, like there was, so I was walking into a restaurant years ago with a friend of mine. This was before my mom passed away, because it was a friend of my mom's as well. And so she and I were walking into this restaurant, and we were talking about things, and just very philosophical. We always have these very philosophical conversations, or at least I thought they were. And she said something, and I said to her, and that was like kind of like the moment that it like came to me. It was like I read it somewhere or whatever. Like I say on here, like none of these thoughts are original, you know. And I said it's the bitter and the sweet. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, life is bittersweet. I mean, it's like the good things and the bad things, but like, if we didn't have the things that weren't so great, you know, if we didn't have those things, then the good things wouldn't feel that amazing either. Like, if we just had all good, we wouldn't know, you know what I mean? And so you have to have a balance of the two to some degree. And she was like, you know, I'd never really thought of it that way. Well, I hadn't either until I read whatever I read at the time, and I was like, you know, passing that on to her. And so I think it's a good reminder to remember, you know, that, where is it? That you'll experience this day moment by moment with joyful acceptance. And the joyful acceptance is that life is not gonna always be perfect. It's just not, right? You know, I often look at a situation and I'll think to myself, I would have behaved so differently 5 or 10 years ago. Like, I would have totally, like, you know, spilt milk kind of moments. I would have totally let this ruin my entire day, and I'm just not gonna do that anymore. I'm just not. Like, life is too short, life is too fragile. I wanna enjoy each day, start my day over whenever I can, whenever I need to. If I'm having a bad day, I can just, like, go in the other room and go, okay, I need to start my day over. And I do that often, you know? It's real easy for me to get on video and be like, oh, everything's perfect and everything's great, right? But, like, there are moments that I have to start my day over, you know? There are moments that I'm just like, I can just feel it inside, and I'm like, okay, I need to really pull it together before I leave the house and things like that, you know, or I'll listen to some happy music, or, you know, I don't know, dance around or watch the dogs, you know, run in the backyard or something to kind of pull me in and make me have a better day. And I really do have the ability to do that. Now, I'm not talking about days where, you know, somebody breaks up with you, or somebody's passed in your life, or something seriously tragic. I think it's important on those days to feel our feelings, right? I think on those days it's important to really feel what we're going through. And I'm not saying that it's not important on other days. I just don't want every day of my life to be filled just with this overwhelming negative attitude. I just don't, you know? And if it's something that you feel like you can't get out from underneath, please seek some professional help. But, you know, I think for a lot of us out there that it's not on that level, at least not the negative thoughts, that aren't something that we need to seek, you know, professional help for. It's like, we do have the ability to start our day over. You know, we can read a meditation book, we can listen to happy music, you know, things like that. I have a playlist on my phone of just happy music that I listen to when I'm kind of in a down mood, you know, and it's a lot of, like, island music, like reggae music and stuff like that, like Bob Marley. But, you know, I think we just have to take those moments as teaching moments to say, life isn't perfect, but I can pull myself back up and start feeling better again. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing, magical weekend. I love the word magical. I hope you're having an amazing, magical weekend. And yeah, let me know what you think about those meditations in the comment section below, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.